Wow, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday morning we had a gorgeous sunrise, beautiful sunrise. This morning we have fog. And yes, typical of fall, which I believe today's the 22nd or 23rd, so it's now officially fall, and this is very much the weather that we typically get during this time of year. And fall weather can actually happen during the summer too, but not as common. So anyhow, I'm going to go for a quick little walk so you can kind of see a little bit of the neighborhood in the fog, because it's beautiful. I love fog. Fog is one of those things where it's just common, it's calming, and as you can hear, the birds are out chirping because it's early morning. It's now about 7:25 or so a.m. and I need to get out and do some more walking anyway, but as you can see, it's fog. This is a just part of my neighborhood. It's a working class neighborhood, so things are the way they are, but I enjoy living here. So anyway, people going off to work. I'm still waiting to hear on a couple of jobs. So I need to look for some more. But I hate looking for work, so I put it off. Anyhow, ooh, squirrel. We have natural habitat or wildlife in the area. We have coyotes, squirrels. I think there's been deer sighted, and even though I live in the city, we still find these things. But it's late September or the latter half of September, and so it's very beautiful out. This is the main drag. It's South 15th, and I call it a main drag because it goes all the way downtown. In fact, if you come in off of 705, you come in at the base of 15th, and then it takes you all the way up, and it ends down there. Well, it technically goes by another block or two, and then it ends at a school. But this is a main drag, and a lot of people use it because it takes them downtown. Anyhow, is an ethereal feel. Yesterday, we only hit the upper 60s, and we're looking to do the same today, and it's probably in the 50s currently. But as you look, most of the homes are like mine, built in the 1900s to about 1920s, or many of them. And then the rest of the homes were built in the 20s and later. That house was actually built, this gray house was actually built in 1900. Mine was built in 1908. So in the end, that house was built in the mid-20s, I think. I want to say 1922. I'm not sure about that house, but as you can tell, and that house on the corner was probably built in the late 40s, early 50s, and right next to it, the house looks like it was built probably in the 30s, 20s or 30s. Anyhow, and that house was probably built in the 40s. That one next to it, probably the same. But as you see, fall is beginning to fall, and this tree is beginning to show signs of changing. Now, this tree tends to change later than the ones on the street, and it's a different tree, even though it looks similar. I trimmed this tree up last year, and it's looking a lot better than it did. As you see right there, you can see where it started to bend the trunk, and it was literally coming out like this. So I whacked it off, and you can see it's much better now. It needs to be trimmed up a little bit come spring, but it's starting to show signs. Some of this is from the very dry summer, and that's typical. These were also trimmed up, and as you can see, they're turning. These will be gone, and they'll be bare soon. This one's a little taller, but it's more red. Anyhow, as you can see, people are out walking their pooches. So, yeah, fog on a day. This will probably all be gone by 9, 10 a.m. And it'll be, I think, cloudy today. So, anyhow, that's the change in the weather, and it happens this time of year. We are showing signs of rain this weekend. Forecasts are saying rain this weekend, I should say. And as a result, and then I think the first day or two of next week, and then we kind of dry out, remain mostly cloudy, but the rains are coming in. What we had over the weekend was what they call an atmospheric river. It's a plume of moisture that comes in from not Hawaii, but down the South Pacific, past Hawaii. When we call a Pineapple Express, those come out of Hawaii. And we get those in the fall, winter. But anyhow, that was just the beginning of what we call the rainy season. By October, we can pretty much guarantee the rains will be here more days than not. So, we're in what's called a rain shadow. Is this area, this part of Puget Sound, really only gets maybe 37 inches in a given year. Whereas the west slopes of the Cascades, the west slopes of the Olympics, they can get about 3 times as much rain because the water, the moisture comes in off the Pacific and rises up over the mountains, and when they do, they let off their moisture, and places like Forks get drenched. And there is an actual rainforest on the west slopes of the Olympic Mountains. Anyhow, I'm going to end it here, and ooh, you've got the geese flying, and they're starting their migration. So, anyhow, time for some breakfast. And as you can see, my fuchsia is starting to drop its blooms and blossoms. And as you can see, it's getting bigger it gets bigger every year. I moved this out from where it was. It was too close to the house, and it was already touching the house when I moved here 5 years ago. I've been cutting it back every spring, usually in March, and basically every March, when you start seeing the green new growth, you cut it back, and then you just let it regrow. And every year it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I may at some point have to move this to a new spot, but for now, just trim it back and keep it going. Anyhow, time for some breakfast. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button, and if you want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified. It'll do this channel a world of good, and I'll see you on the next one.